Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Mr. Cotter would like to address the crowd. Before you ask Steve to put me on the list. Y'all would, if you would please hold any snickers or laughter or interrupting until I finish, I really would appreciate it. I've had to sit through, I guess, 3 meetings now where my family has been talked about, and I think it's important that y'all hear from me, and I won't be long. I've tried to be quiet, and I will continue to be quiet and be peaceful about everything. I know that I have maybe seen as biased since my family's been the one that's been talked about. But I think it's important that I let you know some truths. And I hope you'll just bear with me for just a second. Somebody recently asked me, they came up to me and they said, well, we must be missing something. There must be some link, some missing link. And that's right. There is. But just because I don't stand up and try to harm other people or get others to stand up and harm other people, that doesn't mean there's not another side. There's not truths that you need to know. But I'm not going to stand up before you at any meeting, not today or ever, and hurt some innocent family. There may be people that I feel like have done wrong, but by me saying that, it's going to hurt innocent people. Some people haven't cared about that in this, but I do. And I'm not going to. But I want you to know a few things because specific charges have been made, and I want you to know the truth. I heard some questions that were asked at that board meeting on June 26th. I want to make sure that I respond to them. First of all, there is absolutely no illegal meeting on June 19th. I invite you to get the books out, get the law out. It's absolutely appropriate to have a special meeting to consider a resignation of an employee. I want you to know that. The board member who subsequently resigned continued to conduct that meeting. There was not a protest related to that meeting. The board member who subsequently resigned voted on matters, called matters before the board. That was absolutely not an illegal meeting. The second thing I want to say is,
why are we talking about school board business and a city council meeting?
I'm sorry, but I want you to know, I'm the one that's been, my family's one that's been attacked. If you please,
that needs to be brought up in the school board meeting.
I wish you'd let me respond. I've sat here for three meetings. If you could just let me speak. The second thing is that about the election of officers, we can certainly have an argument and a debate about whether tradition should have been followed. That's an argument that we should have, a debate we should have. But to suggest that there was something illegal or immoral about that is absolutely false. I want to address something real important because it's been mentioned numerous times, and that's that Ross Cotter or board members micromanage. That's what was said many times, micromanage. I think it's important for y'all to understand micromanage can mean attention to detail, and I want to make sure I tell you what is involved in that. When Daddy came on the board, one of the things he was concerned about is there was millions upon millions of dollars sitting in an account in the school system, not making one dime of interest. Now, somebody, I guess, felt embarrassed about it or didn't like that he suggested be put in interest, but it was. It was not earning any interest. So if that's micromanaging to make that suggestion or attention to detail, over attention to detail, I guess it is what it is. That's what happened. There's been complaints that my dad likes to look at the financial records and documents of the school board. Well, that's what he's supposed to do as a board member. Check, make sure that the money coming in, the money going out is there. Now let me just make sure I read this to you, and hear me please, and thank you for your patience. I'll be finished in just a second. This is what Alabama law says about the role of a school board. The general administration and supervision of the public schools and educational interests of each city shall be vested in the school board. Right? It doesn't say anything about anybody else. It says the school board, not past administrators, school board. And then it says this: the City Board of Education is vested with all the powers necessary or proper for the administration and management of the public schools. That's what the law says under the Alabama Code. Now, you've been told things that just aren't true, and since it involves my family, I feel like I need to respond, and that's what all I'm doing. I've heard that one of the charges the other night was that Ross Cotter likes to go look at the construction projects at the schools. Well, he's a contractor. He's been a contractor for 30 years. That's what he does. Wouldn't you want a school board member, if there's a construction project, to go look and see what's going on, just to check on it? And it's like, to me, it would be like a textbook committee at the school where you say, we don't want a teacher's input on this. The teacher has the expertise. So that's why you would want a board member who's got expertise in an area to look in that area. Is that micromanaging? The other thing is personnel matters, I heard. Personnel matters. Well, it is true that a father of a terminated employee met with Daddy and a board member that's already rotated off because he was upset about his daughter being terminated with no explanation. And that father was crying and distressed about that. And if listening to him and being worried about the legal ramifications about that are micromanaging, then I guess that's micromanaging. But listen, this employee apparently was told from everything I've been able to gather that we're not going to tell you why you were fired, and if you make an issue of it, we'll ruin your career. Now, if somebody says that, shouldn't the board member listen to that at least? What we complain about today, we might be in a situation of needing tomorrow when we're an employee or we're the parent of a terminated employee. So I just wanted to make sure you had some context on that. I wanted to make sure you knew also that there was a charge made that Ross Cotter showed up with a notice of termination of the superintendent. That is absolutely untrue. I have exactly what was showed up with, and I'll show it to any one of you. And let me make sure you understand the context. After Dr. Milner announced on the internet that he was leaving, that's how I know at least 4 of the board members found out. I don't know about the 5th. He sent a one-line email that said, I'm resigning. If you have any questions, you can talk to my attorney, J.P. Sawyer. Well, the problem was that J.P. was the board attorney, right? So when I saw that, I thought, now listen, J.P. in fact said, to his credit, he said, I'm best friends with Eric. Okay? So I knew right then that there was a conflict. And I'm the one that suggested to say, listen, go to Aaron and say he doesn't have an out in his contract. Don't argue with him that it's a breach of contract. Both agree professionally to go your separate ways. So that, I want you to know that was absolutely false. I'm about to sit down, and I thank you for your patience. But my dad is a good man, and he's a good Christian man. And for people to smear and not care about families is not right. Other people could do the same thing. It's not right to do. It's not right to do. And I would just ask each one of you to please, let's get back together. A house divided will fall. That's what it says in the Bible. We have a strong school system. We have a strong city. But if we're divided, they're going to fall. They're going to fall. And I'm sorry for taking this long, but I appreciate the privilege to do it because of the fact that my family is the one that was attacked. And I thank you very much for listening to me. But please, let's come together and let's move forward. there's no personal motivation or personal gain to be had other than seeing that the school system and the city grow and are healthy. Thank y'all. I'm sorry that I took that long.